Welcome back, everyone. This is Felix Reyes, and we are getting ready to do a little bit of best ball drafting here, pre board, big board, best ball. We got a lot of fun information, and we are dropping in right now into a draft currently with the eighth pick. And we don't want to waste any more time here. And I definitely want to get on some topics here because we just got word earlier today that DJ Moore got traded to the Buffalo Bills. Let's put some music here in the background to get this draft started here. So, once again, eighth pick, we got the DJ Moore trade to the Buffalo Bills. That Josh Allen finally land his wide receiver one since Stephon Diggs has left the Buffalo Bills. Funny story is that they both played at Maryland. So there's a little connection there. First overall, Jahmyr Gibbs, which is going to be one of the biggest conversations this week. I definitely want to talk more into that. Is it going into the season, right? Is it going to be between Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson for the first overall pick? You're definitely going to see those two go back to back there. I think it's a preference thing, right? So David Montgomery got traded to the Houston Texans, which is big news, right? Right now, Jahmyr Gibbs has the whole backfield to himself. For now, right now, too, Bijan Robinson currently has the backfield all to himself as well. Is Tyler Algier going to sign elsewhere? He is currently a free agent. I don't believe the Atlanta Falcons plan to bring him back. I also don't believe that Detroit goes on and signs a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. They'll definitely get a guy either through the draft or someone who is made available. Here we go. We're about to pick. We have Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, James Cook, Devon Achane, Ashton Jeanty, Justin Jefferson. I'm going to take a shot here at Jeanty. I want to talk a little bit about my guy here, Fernando Mendoza, shortly, because he is the cover boy of this current video. And I want to tie some things here. I do like Christian McCaffrey. I do want to see how Ashton Jeanty looks in this Clint Kubiak offense. Hopefully they have a lot of money. They are, I believe, top 3 in terms of salary cap space. They're going to have a lot of money to play with right now, and I would expect they're going to start working in that offensive line to help with the run game. And whenever you draft a rookie quarterback, there is nothing better than getting your offensive line set and your run game going to make things smoother for your rookie quarterback. I will put up the board shortly here. Let's make this next pick. We got Trey McBride, Saquon Barkley. Wow. Let's go wide receiver here. I do like Saquon Barkley here, but man, I'm a big Malik Neighbors guy. We're starting to get positive reports that he should be back ready to go to play week 1. Here is the current draft board. We are going to take a look at what's next for us here. But let's talk about Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza wasn't supposed to be here. He was a 2-star recruit. He was ranked around 140th quarterback in his class. He started his career at University of Cal. He went 10-10 as a starter, and most people thought he'd just be another solid college quarterback. Then he transferred to Indiana, wins the Heisman, leads them to a national championship, and now he's the projected number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. So the question for us today, for fantasy football, for best ball, isn't just is he good? The question is, how good is he for fantasy football right away? And if he lands in the Raiders, which we are expecting, Clint Kubiak, the new head coach, and his offense, the answer might be more interesting than you may realize. And I want to talk about that because I think Fernando Mendoza right now is currently mispriced. Let's take a look at that, where he's going. He is currently QB, let's see. I believe last I checked, he was QB 22. He is currently QB 23. Okay. So QB 23. I'm not saying he's going to end up being quarterback one, but I do think his range has to be anywhere from 10 to 14. So if he is currently being drafted as QB 23, QB 20, QB 19, I think he's being mispriced. And at that point in the draft, you're drafting a quarterback two veteran with a bit of a low ceiling. Usually the guys you're drafting around there are giving you an average of 14 to 15 points a game. I think Mendoza carries a little bit more of an upside. And even if it's 3 to 5 points, and that makes a big difference. Those spike weeks would make a difference. And right now, this is the best time to take shots, to take chances on drafting a rookie quarterback right around there, especially before his team improves. All right, we are coming up here at pick 32. Let's take a look here. Love Kenneth Walker if he is made available. Breece Hall. I like the idea of going running back here if one of these two options are still around. I'm okay with getting a guy like T. Higgins. I'll be honest, Rashee Rice is currently not an option for me. There's too much going on over there, off-field issues. We're not too sure if he's getting suspended. I believe they're going to go after a wide receiver in this draft for sure to upgrade, or they're going to sign somebody. So let's go Breece Hall. Unfortunate news. Breece Hall was franchise tagged by the New York Jets. I thought he had a shot of signing with a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, possibly the New York Giants were probably going to be interested. The Denver Broncos were a team I'm pretty sure we're going to be interested. We were hearing some reports about that whole situation as well. It sounds like the Broncos are going to go after a running back. If so, right now, any shares of RJ Harvey, especially where he's currently getting drafted, does not feel good at all. So that's not someone I currently have on my draft board. Speaking of the Giants as well, that team that I named, if Breece Hall were to be available, which I'm sure right now Kenneth Walker is getting linked to the Giants. It sounds like they want a star running back now. That makes me a little bit concerned for Cam Scatterboo's stock as well. So we shall see how things look. Monday is the start of the legal tampering window. Free agency starts on Wednesday. Let's take a look here. We are coming up here. Wide receivers, man, I'll be honest. Zay Flower looks good here. Let's take some Luther Burden. DJ Moore just got traded. I'm not opposed to Luther Burden right around this. Colston Loveland is a great pick here too. Not opposed to that. We can do, and there goes Colston Loveland. I was back and forth there. I might have just gone. I should have just gone that route. That wasn't a bad move. But Colston Loveland could have been nice there. Anywho, all right, let's pull up the draft board. This is the beauty of drafting live, y'all. Drafting, and you're hearing my thoughts. You're hearing everything come to pass here. I'm just overthinking it. Was it Luther Burden, Colston Loveland? I think Loveland's just opportunity is going through the roof. But I still like the upside Luther Burden brings, especially with the wide receivers that were still on the board. Really interested in Zay Flowers there. So I was a little bit back and forth on those guys. But yeah, so we got a DJ Moore trade. We got a David Montgomery trade. We're starting to see moves. Funny, they're all former Chicago Bears players, but we're starting to see moves around the league. We're still waiting on some other trades, some that may or may not impact fantasy football, such as a guy like Max Crosby getting moved, but could impact depending on where he ends up, what division he goes into, and what defense he gets plugged into right away. Terry McLaurin was also another player I was interested there too, with his wide receiver one potential. There's nobody right behind him currently. So yeah, right now we're seeing a run at wide receiver. I think the wide receiver run takes a crazy turn. There goes Rome Odunze. I was thinking about adding a little Luther Burden Rome Odunze stack. That is now out, and that's perfectly fine. Let's take a look here. Who would he have? Cam Scatterboo, RJ Harvey, two guys I already named. Not interested right now, especially right around this bucket. If anybody wants to draft them, by all means, there you go. Go ahead and have at them. Monday, we'll get a clear picture as to which running backs these teams sign. There goes David Montgomery shooting up the boards. I think I got him sometime this week, even after the trade, somewhere in the 80s. But he's going to shoot up the board because there's a little more certainty that he's going to be the guy, just getting more opportunities. And Houston just has to work on their offensive line. They're basically, feels like the last two off season, they've just been handing out their guys, getting rid of them. I think they just re-signed Trent Brown today, who played pretty decent for them. Titus Howard, they just traded, who was a guy who was moving all around there. All right, here we're coming up. Let's get this conversation going. I do like Brian Thomas. Not sure where Mekhi Lemon lands. I don't think he's going to be a wide receiver one for a team right away. I think he has obviously fantasy potential. We just got, his situation is going to be very based on what team he lands. Christian Watson put up some good numbers. I'm really interested in Quishon Judkins here. Back and forth. Let me star him here or Brian Thomas. I think I may have a shot at some wide receivers. I just think the running back position just takes a dip as well. See if we started a running back run here. See if we get things moving our way. But I did really like Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison. I'll be honest, one of the things that I'm looking at in this current kind of like where I am thinking right now through best ball, especially in the pre-draft big board, is rookie wide receivers I'm interested in for sure, like guys like Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, a lot of the big names for sure. But the reality is with this draft, you don't really have like that 2024 class that had these alpha wide receivers early on, the Marvin Harrison, the Malik Neighbors, the Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr. You don't really have those guys with that type of profile. They're good, but most of these guys would have been drafted way ahead of them as well. So when you see that, you're kind of like, all right, most of these guys may end up on a team as a wide receiver too. So what does that do for me in fantasy? So in real life, that might do wonders for those teams. But what does it do for me in fantasy? I like Caleb Williams here, but Jordan Tyson, Cortland Sutton, and Mike Evans are all intriguing. I might just go wide receiver here, guys. Let's go. I think Cortland Sutton is so overrated, but Mike Evans, not overrated. I apologize, underrated. I think Cortland Sutton is really underrated. Let's go Mike Evans. He might test out free agency, and I think that his red zone ability, and if he ends up on the right team, let's just say he ends up on a team like the San Francisco 49ers, I think they would find a way to use him and use him definitely in the red zone. And of course, half PPR, so we really appreciate that touchdown upside. Caleb Williams just got selected to the guy who had what, Colston Loveland? Yeah. So Josh Allen, that's something that I find hard to do, drafting very early two quarterbacks. I'm not completely opposed to it. He's probably going to go after DJ Moore because he has Josh Allen here. We'll see how he operates there. But, I'd rather at this point just take my shots at position players right now, the guys who are going to give me a lot at those current positions. I need depth there for sure. I still like a lot of the quarterbacks. We want stacks for sure, but I don't like running and forcing these stacks right off the rip. There goes DJ Moore taken. I'm pretty sure Dan here thought DJ Moore might have dropped to him, but DJ Moore is going to rise up these boards. DJ Moore going to the Buffalo Bills. We can actually talk on that real quick. I think DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills, as far as fantasy impact, I think it's going to be good. DJ Moore went to a team with a familiar offensive-minded coach in Joe Brady. Joe Brady was with him. I believe they were with each other for 2 years in Carolina, if not 1 year, one season for sure. He had a really good season under him that year. Brandon Beane, the GM, was also in Carolina in that front office as well. So there's a lot of dots you can connect there as to why DJ Moore is now with the Buffalo Bills, but he has a big time opportunity to be back to his wide receiver one days that he had a few years ago, even with Justin Fields, when he was the main go-to guy. The good thing about this team here, they have a lot of wide receivers. Obviously, none of them really stood out as the number one guy, the number one target for Josh Allen. That seems to be DJ Moore, which is why they made that move. I believe they're still not done. They're going to probably get some other wide receivers, but I think all the other wide receivers that are on the team will complement DJ Moore well enough to give him more space. Let's see here. Justin Herbert, Drake May. Okay, so we got some quarterbacks going here. Let's take a look at where we're at. I still like DK Metcalf here. I know a lot of people aren't over the moon about DK Metcalf. And there he goes. All right. Alec Pierce is also a really good pick here. We have currently Ashton Genty, Breece Hall, Quishad Junkins, Malik Neighbors, Luther Burden, Mike Evans. I do see quarterbacks coming off. I know Jackson Dart could be a really good. Let's see where Alec Pierce is. If Alec Pierce is gone, I may go down the route of a Jackson Dart. I think Alec Pierce right now may go back to the Colts. It sounds like he's going to be hot. He's going to get paid this offseason. I definitely want to take a shot on that. If this guy's going to get paid, the opportunities and the fantasy upside he's going to have is going to be huge, especially whichever team pays him. Let's say it's not Indianapolis, which it sounds like Indianapolis really want to get that work done, that deal done, I should say. But if Alec Pierce ends up on the New England Patriots right now, he is absolutely right away wide receiver one. And if he goes to the New England Patriots, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. He's a guy who takes the top off the defense, big deep ball threat. And that's something Drake May does really well. All right, we're coming up here. Pick number 89. I'm all in on Jackson Dart if he's available. If not, I do love a guy like Tucker Kraft to add at the tight end position. I like Dak Prescott. I like Patrick Mahomes. I still think there's ways to still stack those guys later on. If it's Jake Ferguson, if it's Xavier Worthy for Patrick Mahomes, there's still ways to start building stacks. I think we're in a good spot here. I don't hate how we're looking. Don't need a forced tight end. I think tight end position is pretty deep. So we're going to get one of these two guys. We'll see what this person takes before us. Probably none of the guys we needed. All right, let's go quarterback here. Jackson Dart. There's going to be questions. Obviously, I still think Dak is good here, but we're going to go with the guy we have a current stack with, and that's Malik Neighbors. Jackson Dart had really good fantasy numbers this past season. There's going to be a lot of question marks about Matt Nagy, and rightfully so. Matt Nagy, when he was a head coach for the Chicago Bears, did really well with that offense year one. Year one, he was able to build an offense that complemented Mitch Trubisky really well and got him coach of the year. That team made it to the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, and they did it with Mitch Trubisky. And then things got a little different year two, year three, when Matt Nagy tried forcing a little bit more than he needed to force on Mitch Trubisky. And that was with the system that he had in place for him. He wanted him to be more of a drop back quarterback, one that can, drop back a little bit more in the pocket and kind of command an offense that way. But that was never Mitch Trubisky's game. And he kind of went away from kind of working around what Trubisky's strengths were. Darian Price. There goes Xavier Worthy. Dak Prescott. Sorry, I heard that sound. I'm like, what is that? Something started playing on one of my tabs here. All right, so we got the board here. Jackson Dart, Tucker Kraft, Dak Prescott, Tyler Algier. Very interesting. He's moving up a little bit more on the boards. We'll find out once again this upcoming week where he ends up. Does Tyler Algier end up on a team where he gets running back one opportunities? He was a guy who was constantly vulturing touchdowns from Bijan Robinson. Is that going to happen elsewhere? Does he end up on a team like the Lions? I don't want to curse them. But he could end up on a team where he's doing the same role again. I think Algier has a little bit more to offer, which makes him interesting. Look at the quarterback run we're seeing now. Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix. All right, these are right around this area here, right? We got Mike Evans, Alec Pierce. We got some guys we can kind of play around with. Tony Pollard, if he happens to be there, I'm not opposed to him. I know he's not the sexy name that everybody gravitates towards. I do like that Rico Dotto pick there. But that's why I like Tony Pollard where he's currently at. I feel like he played pretty well to end the season. Let's see if he's still there. If not, I like Jordan Addison. Wan'Dale Robinson could get paid. I think I saw a report today that the Tennessee Titans may be one of those teams that are going to be really, really interested in him. But the wide receivers are going to come off the board very quick. Yeah, see, nobody likes Tony Pollard. I will take Tony Pollard. What is that? ADP 90, and I'm picking him 104. So 14 picks past his ADP. Why not? Let's take a shot at him. And if he gets the opportunity to be the guy under Brian Dable's offense, it's not a bad move. Not a bad move at all, especially here. I was very bullish last year on that offensive line. It did not work out the way I thought it would be. There was a lot of good players on paper, and some of those guys just didn't produce the same way. Injuries impacted them, and things kind of just went south with them. But I still think that they have good players along that offensive line. I know they just let go of Lloyd Cushenberry, their center. Zietler is no longer, he's going to be a free agent. You know, there's still pieces there. We'll see if they, I think they got the 4th overall pick in the draft. Do they go out there and draft one of those offensive linemen that are going to be available in the top 5? They could do that. They can go defense. A lot of people think it's going to be a defensive player because they got Robert Saleh as the head coach there. All right, Denzel Boston intrigues me here. I think we definitely need to go wide receiver. I know we just got Jackson Dart. I don't want to force anything here. I'm going to say that a lot. Tight end position, I'm not opposed to getting George Kittle. I don't know how soon George Kittle is going to come back, but I think that at this point, we could take shots at him. Look at this: Jake Ferguson, Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah, we're starting to get into a spot here where it's going to get a little tougher. Let's get George Kittle. Yeah, let's get George Kittle. Because if George Kittle comes back week 1, week 2, even week 3, I still think he could still put up numbers to beat this ADP of round 10. And obviously that's what's removing people from drafting him, because if George Kittle was healthy, he's going to be maybe round 3 tight end. So we'll see how that looks. I'm pretty sure this guy right here who got Brock Purdy was looking and hoping that George Kittle was probably going to be there for him. And we had no tight ends, so it was a good spot to start taking more shots on tight ends before, or I should say, to take a tight end before we had to take many shots later on at the tight end position, which isn't a bad thing. But as far as the value that was there at the wide receiver position, I really like George Kittle and what we know about him and his upside. All right, we're getting to that point, y'all. We're getting to that point where we are in the quarterback realm here. I really like Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray because where we're drafting him currently, Once we find out what team he's going to be in, if he does go to Minnesota, Minnesota Vikings are currently the favorite to land Kyler Murray. If he ends up in Minnesota, Kyler Murray's going to shoot up. He's going to shoot up. He's currently getting drafted 132. That's currently like his ADP, right? So if he's getting drafted 132, right around there, so what is that, round 11? Yeah, he'll probably shoot up right here. Somewhere around here, Jackson Dart, Dak Prescott, right here. Round 8 is where I expect them to go once we get that. Now, there's the perfect example of Fernando Mendoza heading out there. So if people want to draft Fernando Mendoza a little earlier than I am hoping to get him, I'm not running. I'm not going crazy over that. I'm not, because I still think that here, right here, where we have these quarterbacks, Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Cam Ward, like that's still guys that I think overall have a higher ceiling than him. I think Fernando Mendoza, where he was getting drafted before today, and he might still drop in other drafts, this person was just probably prioritizing him. And we'll take a look at here, we can just take a look real quick. They have Brock Bowers. Okay, so forcing that play because of the stack isn't terrible, but I'm not a fan of it. I get it, but not over, in my opinion, a guy like Kyler Murray, who I know has that QB1 upside. All right, let's take a look real quick who we have here. Not interested in Stephon Diggs. I'm not really interested in a lot of these guys right here. I'm going to go Kyler Murray. Feel a little more confident that he will for sure land a role where he'll be the guy. I do like Malik Willis there. And the reason why I like Malik Willis there is, yeah, obviously didn't have many starts. But what he does translates for fantasy football. And that's what I'm drafting him to be. I'm not here to tell you if he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league, but can he be a top 10 quarterback for fantasy football, which is different, absolutely different. They don't all translate. I mean, guys like Justin Fields plays awful in the NFL, but Justin Fields for fantasy football, if he's a starter, is a guy you want on your team, on your fantasy team, because of his rushy upside. And that's something Malik Willis does. As we talked about Malik Willis, he gets picked up. We're starting to see a little bit of a quarterback run here. Very interesting spot to be in. I think guys like Romeo Doubs is interesting to take a shot at. Something tells me he's not going to end up back in Green Bay. And if so, that sets up an opportunity for him to go to a team where he might be valued. Maybe he becomes wide receiver 2 and he gets picked up right now. Maybe he becomes wide receiver 2 for the Buffalo Bills next to DJ Moore. You know, I think he's a good fit for San Francisco. I know I've been talking about San Francisco a little bit here. I think he would be a really good fit in that Kyle Shanahan offense. So yeah, there's places he can end up and be really good for. All right, so Dallas Goedert, right? He's a guy who's there as well. Let's take. I think I want Shaheed. Take a shot on. Let's take Shaheed here. We currently have 4 running backs. I feel pretty good about this running back room. I still feel like we need more wide receivers. I don't feel like the wide receivers we have here are as secured as wide receiver 1 roles outside of like Malik Neighbors. Luther Burden has the potential and the ability to be wide receiver 1 for the Chicago Bears. So that's why we took him where we took him. Upside, Mike Evans does carry that. Actually, I'll take that back, because Alec Pierce, we were just talking about that. Wherever he gets signed, he's going to probably be their wide receiver 1. And for fantasy, all these guys should score. So yeah, we're not in a bad spot here. So running back, we could take a quarterback. I think Cam Ward, if he's still there, is interesting. I do like guys like Tyreek Hill, crazy. But when you're drafting him as late as you're drafting him, I don't think he's bad at all. I think he's worth every shot, especially if he comes back healthy. You know, there's guys down here. We'll start taking a look shortly here. Let's pull up the board. Let's see what we're looking at. Rashid Shaheed, if he ends up back with Clint Kubiak in Las Vegas, maybe he gets a little more opportunity than he got when he went to Seattle. In Seattle, he kind of uh, became more focused on the special teams role as the punt returner, kick returner. He had a few opportunities, but if we want to see him back like how he was with New Orleans, I thought that he was such an underrated wide receiver in this league. I think he's really good. I think Rashid Shaheed has some really good skill sets, and he's fast. So he'll take the top off defense easily. I'd love to see him on a team. There was a team, everybody was talking about the Bills. Would have been good for Josh Allen, but Rashid Shaheed could go to the New England Patriots. And if he goes to a team like the Raiders, right, a system that he already knows and understands, it can also do very well for him. All right, we're a few picks away. Someone just took Cam Ward. I'm not opposed to getting another tight end here, especially since we're not sure how healthy George Kittle is going to be. I do like Jackson Dart and Kyler Murray right now as my fantasy quarterbacks, especially with their styles and their rushing upside. So we could take a shot at a QB3 later on with some upside, and we could see what's going on. Right now, I definitely want to focus at position players, I should say. Let's see here. With Travis Hunter, I think round 13, round 14, he's not a bad guy to draft right around here, just in case. I think he is going to be more of a defensive player this upcoming year, but he might carry some upside there. No one knows what Tyreek Hill is going to be. Dallas Goedert, we're hearing news that he's probably not going to go back with Philly. What team does he end up on? Look at that, 11 touchdown this past year. Let's take, I'm going to go, there's more. Yeah, we're going to take Tyreek Hill. The tight end position here, there's still a lot of guys here, like Goddard, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. Those three guys, we could take a Theo Johnson. Kyler Murray, we can play him anyway. Kyler Murray could either be going to the Minnesota Vikings. Kyler Murray could be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kyler Murray can even end up in Indianapolis. I just took a bet on him today. A long shot bet that if he goes to the Indianapolis Colts, the payout is really nice. I just feel he's a good fit for that Shane Steichen offense. We've seen how Shane Steichen has worked with quarterbacks of his skill set, like Jalen Hurts. Best season came under Shane Steichen. You had Daniel Jones, who looked really good under that offense. I think Kyler Murray could do just as well. And the only reason why I mentioned Indianapolis is because they put the transition tag on Daniel Jones. So teams can still offer Daniel Jones an offer sheet, and Indianapolis has the rights to match it. And if they choose not to match it, well, he can go to that other team. That other team could very well be Minnesota Vikings, the team that he was on as the backup quarterback to Sam Darnold mid-season, because he got cut from the Giants. Real quick here before we continue that thought, I like Jonathan Brooks here. Let's see if Jonathan Brooks stays. But man, Mark Andrews at this point, I think is just too good. And we need a little more assurance here. Look at that tight end room. A year or two ago, this is a really good tight end room. I like taking chances there still, while everybody thinks that they're all old, dusty, and gone, but touchdown productions are still there. I still think that they have the ability to still beat out their ADP. Going back to the thought that I was saying, I just think Jonathan Brooks just leaves. Kyler Murray, if Daniel Jones ends up in the Minnesota Vikings, then it already sounds Anthony Richardson already requested a trade. They're going to need a quarterback. And right now, Kyler is going to probably be doing the same exact thing Russell Wilson did when he got cut from the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos still, I think to this day, is paying him, but he was able to sign a vet minimum deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what Kyler Murray is about to do. The Arizona Cardinals are going to still pay him. He's going to sign a vet minimum, which is going to help whatever team signs him. They're going to be able to still do things in free agency. And if they don't have money, it just gives them an opportunity to sign and bring them on board with the current team that they have built already. Let's put out the draft board here. So If he ends up on a team like the Indianapolis Colts, you consider Chris Ballard, you consider Shane Steichen. A lot of people thought they were going to get let go this offseason. So if they go into this season and they are presented with that scenario, why not go after Kyler Murray and hope that he works out for you and keeps them tied to Indianapolis for the next couple of years? And if he doesn't work out, they're probably seeking and looking for another head coach and GM duel next season. But for Kyler's right now trying to prove that he still belongs in this league. Kyler's still trying to show that he still has everything that made him a number one overall pick. So we're really curious to see. I know betting odds has him going to Minnesota, and they have a really good roster in place. I'm really curious to see where he ultimately ends up. But yeah, I took some long shot bets. I think Pittsburgh is interesting and Indianapolis is interesting. You're not going to get much right now for Minnesota, clearly because he is currently the favorite to go there. Another wide receiver I don't hate taking at this point. I do like guys like Adonai Mitchell here. You have Calvin Ridley. Those aren't bad options as well. Running back is starting to get tough. Sean Tucker he probably went already, right? Yeah. So we're going to be taking a lot of shots here, and that's okay with 5 or 6 running backs. Let's take a look here. If Kyler were to the Jets, we have Breece Hall, Adonai Mitchell, who I still think stays on that team. Let's see where Calvin Ridley ends up. Maybe he just looks better under a new offense. I know he didn't look all that great last year, but we'll see. I think at this point, obviously, we're just taking shots. And once again, I keep utilizing that word, and I'm going to keep saying it because it really is what we're doing in these rounds. If they manage to have spike weeks, these players around this area here, then you are in a good spot. Speaking of running backs, another guy, Brian Robinson, could end up being a backup for another player. Maybe he's Jahmyr Gibbs' backup, just like he was Christian McCaffrey's backup this past season. I'm not too sure if San Francisco plans to bring him back. They got guys like Isaac Guerrero. They got Jordan James that they drafted last year. So my guess is that Brian Robinson ends up on a new team. And with the new team he ends up, he could get a lot of that short goal line work. Let's see here. Braylon Allen, speaking of Robinson, he just left there. I like Singleton. I like Kimani Vidal if I happen to land him here. Let's take Vidal. I don't think the Chargers are going to draft a running back in this draft class. I think they're going to stick with Omarion Hampton and Vidal. I think that they worked really well together. They might just bring back Najee Harris. We'll see if that impacts anything because Najee Harris was injured for most of the year. Let's see here. JJ, Shador, Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, see, at this point, we could take a chance on someone. We can go last round with like a Derek Carr. We can go with a Tua who might start for a team. Anthony Richardson demanded a trade. I don't really care for guys like Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers so much here, but they're not the end of the world choices. I'm not sure if Rodgers comes back. If he does, obviously he's going to come back and be the starter there. So if we want 3 quarterbacks, we'll take a look there. Let's see what other options we have. Nicholas Singleton, I like his upside. I know he had a broken foot due to the Senior Bowl, wasn't able to test out at the combine, but those are the kind of guys that may fall in the actual NFL draft due to that injury. But once he lands on his new team, gets all the opportunity once he's healed and ready to go, and really shines. Nicholas Singleton was looking like a real big time pick. Not this past season, but the season before for Penn State. Katron Allen had a really good year this past season. Let's see, where are we now? All right, we're starting to see some running backs. So yeah, these last couple rounds, this is where you really get your teams going here. You either go after rookies, you can go after, see, look at our team right now, no rookies. This is a good time to take a shot at that. And that's how I'm drafting. I don't want to just force rookies because we are drafting before the NFL draft. I don't feel that that's a need. I think people try to push that too much. I don't think that's necessary. I like to take chances on sophomore players this year, even junior players in the league, guys who were waiting to basically take that next step. So is Marvin Harrison going to take the next step under a new offense? I'm interested to see that. So I'm really intrigued by drafting him, especially where he was going. And when they started, here we go. So we're going to take Nicholas Singleton here. Upside play for sure if he ends up on the right team. But yeah, going back to the Marvin Harrison Jr., I just think that new offense, they're probably going to utilize him a little better than what he was being utilized the last 2 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. If so, where you're drafting him, it's a good spot. But yeah, I was going to say, right when best ball started up again in the end of January, we were seeing Michael Wilson get drafted over Marvin Harrison, and I thought that was just crazy. I thought that was crazy. I was like, there's no way. I get it. He had a few good weeks, but like, you're still betting on the talent there. And this offense, like, Michael Wilson might be decent enough. He was pretty solid at Stanford, just got injured a lot. But overall, like, you're still betting on the guy who they're making their number one option there, has the skill sets to be the number one receiver for that team. I like Michael Wilson. I just thought that the price for Michael Wilson, I mean, that's really what you're basing everything off, is the prices, what the market is giving you, and that's where we take our chances. Is the edge there, and that's what I started off this video talking about. Fernando Mendoza, we're drafting him when the edge is there. All right, we're back up. I like Keon Coleman here. I think that the DJ Moore trade helps him. Let's take Keon Coleman right here with this pick. All right, we're 14 picks away. Let's see how the rest of this draft board shows up. So guys like JJ McCarthy, I'm not interested in this year. I'm not. Unless we're told, and this may be more of a focal point once we get closer to Best Ball Mania, that he's going to get starts. We'll see which quarterback they end up with, because if they don't end up with a Kyler Murray, a Geno Smith, someone who might just start right away, but if they get like a Kirk Cousins, there's a possibility that Kirk Cousins plays the first couple of weeks. They bench him if he starts not playing well, and they feel that JJ McCarthy is ready and bring him on board. I have a hard time believing someone like Kyler Murray would get benched for JJ right now. I just think that JJ, their plan right now is to truly sit him, maybe even trade him. I'm not too sure about that, but I think they want to sit him for at least another year and see what they have. Obviously, injury happens and he has to jump in. Sure, why not? Interesting, Taylor Green. That kid from Arkansas, right? Yeah, freak athlete in the combine, puts up monster numbers. Some think that he's going to be another position, like tight end or so, kind of like Taysom Hill. So if you know that for sure, yeah, round 18 works, but I don't know if he's going to be starting this year at all. So, again, you're taking shots at this point, but I feel, to me, I'm drafting him round 20 if I really wanted to take a shot like that. But yeah, if he ends up being another position of sort, right? That's not really up to me. That's going to be up to the team of choice. And you're drafting him there, you might be getting a really good value for him, but not what I want to do in best ball this year. But yeah, no, he's got fantasy potential. If he becomes a starting quarterback in this league, there's a lot of potential there for sure in fantasy. But right now, I don't want to take in too much of the potential portion of things with this current NFL draft class. I truly think that outside of Fernando Mendoza, it's really just Fernando Mendoza that I think starts this year. Any other quarterback would really be going in because of opportunity that just arises for them. of some sort, but that's about it. Like I just don't see it. Ty Simpson can flash and have, these abilities, but I think he's more of a project right now in the NFL. And I think he won't be starting this year. Dynasty is a whole different story, but for best ball right now, I'm good. So let's see here. I like Ted Hurst. I think he's sneaky. Maybe I can do that with my 20th round pick, or we can start focusing at tight end. I've taken some Pat Fryermuth. I kind of find it funny that he's still available out there. Is Chig available? I thought he was going to be a free agent. Maybe he is. And they haven't updated that. I'll have to double check on that. All right, let's take a look here. Caleb Johnson just seems to be the guy I want to take shots on, because I don't see them bringing back Kenneth Gainwell. Let's see. They drafted him high in hopes that they can utilize him a little more. He had a really good college career. I think that Caleb Johnson is someone fun to take in the 19th round. So another guy I have taken some of is tight end position, which I think we're going to end up going there because we have a guy like George Kittle. Wide receiver room is solid. Running back room feels decent enough to keep moving. I think I'm going to stick with 2 quarterbacks here, 2 tight ends. I'm not sure if George Kittle is going to come back, because quarterback right now, they already took Derek Carr. Geno Smith might end up on a team. Tua might end up team. We're just going to hope that these guys can hold it down for us in this team. I did take 7 running backs, more than I thought I would take. It's perfectly fine. I will go tight end here. But I was saying Pat Fryermuth is someone I've taken. I think he was held back a little bit more because of Aaron Rodgers. We're not sure if Aaron Rodgers comes back, but if we're drafting him in the 20th round, I feel like that's not bad at all. I like Pat Fryermuth here, and I like Elijah Arroyo. I've been taking a little more of Elijah Arroyo. I think that he's sneaky. I think that the way they were raving about him when they drafted him, I think that the future plan for him is for this season, because he can split out wide, play the tight end position, play a little bit of wide receiver, big body receiver, X kind of guy. But we're going to go Pat Fryermuth in this case. If Kyler Murray is a Pittsburgh Steeler, we would have a nice little stack there. Perfect. Let's see how this draft finishes out. We'll review the team, and then we'll discuss here Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox was a candidate to possibly get cut because of his contract. They just added DJ Moore. They took on his whole contract. They made it guaranteed for next year as well. So that's interesting too. So maybe Dawson Knox doesn't stay with the Buffalo Bills. Maybe he ends up on another team. Again, this upcoming week, we shall see what happens. Tua, say what you want to say about Tua, and that's perfectly fine. But for fantasy purposes, if he starts for a team, drafting him in the 20th round, the guy who's going to start for a team, this is perfect. This is a gift. I've taken some Tua in the 20th round. I think that's just a really good spot. I think one of the things that we make mistakes and do in fantasy, in best ball, we become prisoners of the moment. We start thinking about things like player-wise, like, oh my gosh, Tua, he's no good in the NFL, and then forget what they're capable of doing, especially if they start. You're not drafting Aaron Rodgers in the 18th round if you don't think he's coming back. You're not going to take a 0. I don't think you take a 0 here from Tua. If you do, it was in the 20th round. Right here, we don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to start. Could it be Deshaun Watson or so? Again, the 20th round. This is the perfect time to take shots. You could take a shot on a rookie, or you could take on a shot on guys with some potential. Flournoy is a really good, solid pick. You saw how good he was when CeeDee Lamb was out. They really have a nice little role. It looks like Dak has a really solid connection with him. All right, let's take Elijah Arroyo out of the queue there. We're going to review this team. Jackson Dart at quarterback, Kyler Murray at quarterback. We have running back Ashton Genty, Breece Hall, Quinshawn Judkins, Tony Pollard, Kamani Vidal, Nicholas Singleton, Caleb Johnson. At wide receiver, we have Malik Neighbors, Luther Burden, Mike Evans, Alec Pierce, Rashid Shaheed, Tyreek Hill, Calvin Ridley, Keon Coleman. At tight end, we have George Kittle, Mark Andrews, and Pat Fryermuth. For the stacks, we have Malik Neighbors with Jackson Dart. And for Kyler Murray, wherever he ends up, we have some possible stacks for him as well. We have what I think, if he ends up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pat Fryermuth. In the scenario that I gave you, if he ends up in Indianapolis Colts and they let go of Daniel Jones, they'll absolutely have money to pay Alec Pierce what he wants if he wants to play with someone like Kyler Murray. Again, we don't know where he's going to end up. We'll find out this upcoming week. But here's the reality. We're getting him in pick ADP 132, picked him up at 128. He's going to shoot up these draft boards. If he goes to the Minnesota Viking, we just talked about this, he will probably end up being somewhere around 8, in my personal opinion, anywhere between Drake May and Jackson Dart, Dak Prescott. I really believe, if not at most, he'll be round 9. But we're getting him where we're getting him, and I just think that's to me, that's a steal. We're getting him in round 11, so you're probably going to take him 3 rounds, 2 rounds ahead. Why not take advantage and take the value now before it goes up? All right. Thank you guys so much for hopping on and taking a look at this draft that we just pulled together. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to like the video, share it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And yeah, really excited to get more videos going and excited to see what transpires in this off season. Once again, thank you so much. Have a good one. Take care and peace.